One of the big names in this gallery is Andy Warhol, who's as much famous for his effect on pop culture as he is for his painting. And two of the big ones that he's really famous for that are actually in this exhibit are self-portrait with his face in the numerous different colors and shades, and soup cans, which is the Campbell soup cans replicated dozens of times. And in fact, he didn't actually paint soup cans himself. He had his assistants at his studio at the factory paint each one for him.
An interesting feature of the gallery is a film of Jackson Pollock that you can watch of him painting one of his pieces. And while the end result was great splashes of paint across the canvas, and it seemed like it was done with great energy and anger, in fact, he placed each bit of paint very carefully with either a stick covered in paint or a brush as he stood over the painting on the ground.
Alexander Calder's wire portraits are one of my favorite parts of this exhibition. As you move around the portraits, the face actually changes, and they're not free-made. He actually did them off a specific model, and he got many of the particular features of the person added into the portrait, particularly the terrible teeth of the portrait on the right. Calder is remembered as being the artist who invented what we now know as a mobile, which is the free-hanging type of sculpture that was able to move in the breeze. He actually began as a mechanical engineer and later moved on to art, first through sketching, then to sculpture.
Marcel Duchamp is famous for his sense of humour in his art, and the story behind In Advance of the Broken Arm is equally interesting. When Duchamp moved to New York from France, he visited a hardware store with a studio mate, and there found a snow shovel. The two Frenchmen were absolutely amazed by the exotic object that was every day in the US, but not available in France. He took it home, titled it, signed and dated it, and then hung it from the ceiling by wire. The piece in the Modern Masters collection is actually the fifth of 8 replicas made under Duchamp's supervision.
Pierre Mondrian originally began the painting Trafalgar Square in London in 1939. However, he later moved to New York and didn't finish the painting until 1943. What's interesting about him is that he loved to watch the traffic and the chaos of it and drew on that in his paintings. However, he actually himself was afraid to cross the road. Finally, Picasso is one of the other big names in this exhibition, and in fact what the gallery does is have many of his paintings over his entire career. And in fact you see that he actually began as a classical artist before eventually moving into what we now know as Cubism, which he founded. With some of the biggest names in modern art, you absolutely cannot afford to miss this exhibition for the short time that it's still in Perth.
All this information has been available from the audio tour from the gallery or from the podcasts on the website.